everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Pullbox Pals. I'm one of the pals, Matt, and my other pal over here is Monk, and we're here to chat some comics and maybe some other stuff dabbled in. Like,
Oh my goodness.
we'll
We're going to
see.
talk about soccer. You want to get into soccer?
Yeah,
Soccer's not
no.
happening right now, is it?
Soccer's like always happening.
You're always happening. You must be
It's-
soccer.
Yeah.
Hey-o.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm happy to be home. I cleaned up my little room here before we went live. And part of the reason that I did that was because I wanted to point out something in the back. And I wanted to make sure that if people were looking around, it looked kind of clean. But yeah, I got a new rack for some my comics. You know, we always talk about having a to read pile. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna having just both walls covered in comics wasn't enough. I needed a
Nope.
rack to just put, you need to read these comics. So it's kind of
Yeah.
cool. It makes me feel like I'm at a comic shop a little bit because I'm pulling it off like a rack. I mean, the other ones are racks, but yeah.
Honestly, that's what your room makes me think is like, oh, it's a comic shop.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for.
I'm just gonna come
So
on over and browse through your comics and
actually, if
make a
anybody wants
purchase.
to do that, let me know because yeah, I'm gonna be drowning in comics in the next couple of years if this keeps going. I would imagine,
Well,
or if I keep living because I love comics. Even if this goes away, I'm still gonna be reading comics.
yeah, well, and also like, we talked about this when we were on the comic book lair and just like, what do you do about storage? We had a little chat about like, do you get digital? Do you get print? And it's like, I think everybody loves having print, but digital is just so much more convenient in terms
Yeah.
of storage.
Oh
And
my gosh.
so something I've been doing lately is I've been going back through all of my old comics and I've been getting them ready to sell. And so I'll
Oh,
be selling them at my wife and I's shop. So
I mean, yeah, that's a great avenue for you to do that. Do you want to do a little plug?
sure, yeah. If you're a follower here on the Pullbox Pals and you find yourself in my town of Corvallis, Oregon, and you stop by at 1972 downtown on Monroe Street, you can find some comics there that were from my collection. And another thing I'm doing, I'm putting together mystery packs
Oh,
with all
that's
the
pretty dope.
So the ones I'm putting out are things that have like gained value, and then anything that hasn't gained value, they're all
Yeah.
going into mystery packs.
We should maybe
But I'm
send out
gonna
one of
I'm gonna
those for this thing. Maybe we should do that for this.
Oh, heck yeah.
I would
That'd be
do one
fun.
as well. I can put one together. That's no problem.
But yeah, so I'm gonna put over like crossover series, like ones that I have like the sequential crossover things for. I'm gonna
Mm,
put those together in a package, and I'll also have like here's some good stories to read on your own. You don't really need the sequence of it.
right.
So it's not just gonna be like random. And then I'm doing a pretty good deal too on a lot of them. So it's like most packs are probably going to be about 10 comics, which is about a $40 value. And
Ooh.
I'm only going to be selling them for 20.
Ah,
So
look at you. Hey, but that's a great way to keep the stacks down because just from like all the ones that I have laying around and like if I wouldn't have bought that rack, like just everything that I need to board and box, like I know I'm gonna have to get another long box. And I'm
yeah,
just that'll be my third. So I'm like,
yeah.
ugh,
Well,
ugh.
and then another bonus that's coming out of this is I'm taking all my boards and bags for the mystery pack. So I don't need to buy more boards and bags for a while.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Yeah, because I just burn through those so quick because I do let my like boarding and I like the process of sitting and down and like doing a lot of them and then like alphabetizing them. I really enjoy doing that. It's not something I
Yeah.
do like every week, but it's just like a nice little treat for me to like, put on some music, sit here and just, alphabetize them, maybe change up some of the ones that are on the wall, whatever,
Yeah.
like
Oh, it's a good time.
yeah, it's a great time.
I
What
do
a
it.
time to
I
be
do it.
alive.
I do that about every week now. Like I rearrange, well, not my top shelf, but my comic shelf here behind me.
Yeah.
And it's just it's therapeutic to like
Yeah,
do that rearranging. But yeah,
absolutely.
oh dude, and also like speaking of boards and bags, I didn't realize this until I ran out of my first packet of bags. The
Mhm.
last time I ordered them, they sent me this. I ordered, I think they come in packs of like 100 or 50 or something like that,
Yeah.
and I always get Silver Age ones because they kind of help protect the comic a little bit more. I think because they're a
Okay.
little bit like wider than the
Okay.
average size comic, and so there's more
Me too.
space if you drop it. But anyway, they sent me double the bags, and like I think that the warehouse that shipped it messed up, because they sent me resealable ones and then ones that aren't resealable, and I had ordered resealable, so they gave me a bunch of non-resealable ones for
I,
free.
I don't even know if I've ever heard about non or resealables. Which are those the ones with the flap, or does
No,
it have like?
I'll have a flap, and so like here, I got one right here.
Oh my goodness, we're
Here's a little
learning together.
demonstration for the watchers. Okay, so like, can you see this little thing right here?
Ah, yes, I can.
Yeah, you can tear that off, and then it's just like it's a re-stick thing.
Oh, that's fantastic. I do need to
Yeah,
get those. Man,
but
I
I
learned
also
so
have
much from you.
my tape for the ones that I don't have the
That's
resale for.
I was trying to hang up this Ant-Man and the Wasp little movie thing that I got, and yeah, I have no tape in my room. Man, look at Mark. You're everything I want to be and more. Ah,
Oh, well, we inspire each other.
I don't think I think that's a one-way street, because I wanted to point this out for the people. No one gets to see this behind the scenes, but we have like a shared document that we look at when we're doing this. I know this is a little inside baseball, maybe you don't care, but there's 6 pages of this, and it's all Mark's stuff, and I've dedicated 2 lines to 2 comics I want to mention at some point. So he's so much better at keeping all this notes, and yeah, I just wanted to shout out to you and all your hard work that nobody sees. I just wanted to give you a shout out to that, bud.
It's about 15 minutes a day per week,
That's not bad.
Yeah, that I just get on and I'll type out some notes. So like I think I told you backstage, but just so everybody knows, like as pretty much as soon as this episode ends, I get the next document ready, so I know what my polls are for next week. And then I just start building from there for about 15 minutes a day out of the week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Look at you. You smart, organized man. But hey,
I got a non-comic question for you.
Oh, okay. I was about to go into comics.
Well, did you watch episode 2 of Mandalorian yet?
I did not. I've only watched episode 1.
Oh, well, I wanted to show you. I got this.
What you get? This is
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm sorry for everyone who's just listening, but Mark got himself a model of the Darksaber.
Me and my son actually got that together. We got it at Disneyland at Galaxy's Edge last time we went.
Wow.
Yeah, but he's mostly had it in his room and stuff for decoration. And then the other day he's cleaning his room and was just like, I don't need this in here anymore. I'm like, cool, I'll take it.
I've grown out of this.
Yeah,
in the last month.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well,
but so you haven't watched Mandalorian yet. I stayed up and watched it at midnight because I'm crazy. But man, yeah, I'm really excited for you to watch it, and we can chat about it another time. But yeah, what did you make it to your shop today?
I did. I was fortunate enough to make there, and this week was pretty short on pulls. I know you put up on your video that you didn't really have that many, and then you went back and got some more.
Yeah,
I'm probably just I don't know why I'm talking about your pools in my pools segment. Get out of here, Mark.
Yeah, we'll get to my polls. Let's talk about your polls.
I don't know why I'm so excited about yours. I've got some good ones.
Did we get anything the same?
I don't think that we did.
Huh. Well, there should be at least one, but we'll see.
We'll see. I got where monsters lie #2. That came out last week, but I just didn't see it on the shelf. It was sitting there. I just forgot about it and picked it up. That's about the community of serial killers that all live together.
So I guess my question is about that series, because I'm waiting for the trade for this one. Where monsters lie, is that like lying down or like lying, like telling a lie?
I don't think it's telling a lie. I also have only read issue 1. So there's a chance that but I'm pretty sure it's kind of meaning like where monsters nest down. Like,
yeah, it makes more sense, but
yeah,
I also just wonder, maybe it could be a double entendre. Maybe they do lie and they while lying down.
Look at this for the first time ever on the pullboxpals. It's our pal, Kyle from the Comic Book Lair. Good to have you, buddy. Good old pal, our pal. We should have called our shows the Pool Box Buddies. I mean pals, because that's what we say all the time. But anyways, I got, maybe you got this, but we read this sometime back, and this was Comixology exclusive, and then it came out, I guess, in non-exclusive form through Dark Horse. Nice.
Yep.
It's from Scott Snyder and Francis Manipul. It's clear. We talked about this. We did a whole episode on it sometime back. It's great. You know, I don't know if I'm going to get the rest, but I definitely just wanted to get issue number 1 because
I don't know if I'm going to get the rest either, but this was the key of the week for a lot of
really?
like comic shops around. And so this was something I made it because, you know, I'm trying to save money this year on how much I spend on comics. And I've made a deal with myself that like if I have enough money to like get a few extra, like I did today, and I'll get into those, I'm only going to get it if it's at my shop.
Okay.
And my shop just happened to have 4 other things that I wanted today.
Well, we're gonna get into something that may have revolutionized how I deal with my comics because I didn't know that this existed. So you know what? I'm just gonna talk about it now because
it's on the
this,
top of your mind.
yeah, and I didn't know this existed. I think I might have already said that, but it is a magazine that comes out every month that has all the comics that's listed for like the next couple months in it.
Yeah.
I did not know these existed. Why are you so like just like pretending that this is common fact? Everyone at my shop was like that as well. They all just looked at me and like, you didn't know this existed, and I was like, no. And then and
well,
it was.
I mean, these days that's what the internet's for, because that's previews. Like you can go to the previews website.
I guess, but this is so much cooler than going to a
knock at
stupid
my
old
door.
website. Oh, well, I'm going to talk about this. So those of you who aren't cool and in the know, like Mark and everybody at my comic book shop, this is a like magazine that comes out that has all the comics that are going to be coming out over the next couple months, and it has like all of the major publishers and indie ones as well. So I am going to spend some time. This is going to be like my it's not free. It was $4.99. So I mean, that's
I'm back.
Sorry, I answered a question from the comic book Lair that says, is that a free resource?
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's the same as a comic book, and like just being able to have this is so cool. And like I'm not going to keep this for forever, but it's great to be able like this. I'm going to keep this and just browse through this. That's going to be like my new scrolling. And also I want to point this out. The comic book Lair says y'all look handsome as ever. So
shucks.
Well, shucks and right back at you. Yeah, so I'm going to just toss that over there. Because that's going to take up way too much room on my table.
That belongs on a couch, honestly.
I know.
That's couch reading.
That's what I'm going to do after this, is just go down there and page through it. But it also kind of like screws with my brain because it flips at one point and I just can't tell which is the front, which is the back. So I'm going to learn some things.
Hard.
Yeah. Anyways, I picked up the Gimmick from some Ahoy Comics. I don't think I've ever gotten anything from Ahoy.
Yeah, my Ahoy's too small for my shop to pull in for me, so like I have to request it like the day it releases if I want it.
Right.
But I saw that on that was one of the things too. If I had seen it at the shop today, I would have gotten it, but I knew that was one I wouldn't see.
Yeah. So. Well, I will keep you posted on it. Our buddy, our pal, the comic book Lair, Kyle, he also got this, and I just commented on his post about it. So we're all going to be talking about this little comic, and I know Andy Header got it as well. So if you got it, you can talk to us about it as well.
Yeah. I like talking with Andy.
I know. I miss him. We used to sync up at the times that we would go to the comic book shop, but now I
got a new job.
I went and got a new job. But all right, I've been talking too much. The last thing I got is Know Your Station number 4. This is one of my favorite comics that's out right now, but I talk about it all the time, and I've been talking too much. And so I'm going to pass the buck back to you, boss.
All right. Well, thank you, Monk, for that display of comics.
you're it's like, did we just become news anchors? And you're just
That's
like,
what
and
I was
back,
kind of going for.
yeah,
Like,
back in the studio.
speaking of, it's raining like cats and dogs outside right now.
Is it really?
Yeah, it
It
actually might
rains
be
in Oregon? What
yeah,
a
it actually
weird
might be a little bit of hail by the looks
hail.
of it.
My
Yeah, I
goodness.
I got a skylight right here, and so like it lands.
Who would have
It all lands,
expected
but
bad weather in that part of the world?
yeah, it's wonderful. Wah, wah. So up first for me, I got Star Wars: The High Republic issue number 6. This was also on the key comics list for
Oh,
this week. So, but again, I think that those are projections on key comics, not guarantees.
yeah.
And then Samurai Doggy number 4 came out. I've, you know, I'm glad our pal's on here because I know he's reading it too. But I kind of been waiting for issue 4 just in anticipation because issues 1 through 3 were just like a long drawn out like anime episode, like where like there was a battle that essentially took place over those 3 issues,
Right.
and you just had to like wait to see. And so I'm looking forward to issue 4 to see if this like series really starts hitting the ground, and kind of getting along with the story. So another key pull this week was Batman 133. Did you not get this today?
No, I that's what's that on the top row there of my to read rack. That's what's sitting up there.
Yeah,
Is
I'm not gonna
Batman.
lie. I actually still have my 132. I think it's behind my issue of Red Winter Fallout behind me. I think it's sitting behind there. And then the last thing that I actually pulled today was issue number 9 of West of Sundown.
God, that's a beautiful. I'm so happy that you stayed on that, and that
Yeah.
I'm guessing you really. We don't really ever talk about it.
Uh yeah. I mean, I enjoy it, but nothing's been happening in it where I'm just like, man, I really need to talk about it. Like a lot of the issues, like because we've talked so much about like wanting to be positive about the things that we read,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to do injustice to things that other people might deem as a lot better than I deem them.
Mm,
And West of Sundown, I do really like it just because I like the whole premise of it being like a blend of the old fashioned horror mixed with like old westerns.
right.
Oh, nice.
Oh, geez. What?
Uh, check out
I didn't get it again this time. Oh, there
oh,
we go.
yeah.
Oh, there you go.
They just picked
Uh,
up volume 1 based on my recommendation. So I hope you enjoy it. Like I said, like I do really like it just because I really like the premise of it. Like the art's pretty cool and very much matches like what you would see in those old Hollywood films.
mm,
And so I really
mhm.
appreciate it for that. The story is not like bad, but it's just kind of drawn out a little bit.
I wonder if that's on
So
Comixology yet, the first volume. Because I would definitely be interested in picking it up if it was, because I can't, I honestly can't remember how I felt. I could have been very negative, but I also
mhm.
it's a vampire story. So do I want more
Yeah,
vampire? So
exactly.
there you
I
go.
think we've settled that issue. 66% of our followers agree with you that we don't need any more vampire stories. But I was kind of on that too. Like I
I guess
love yeah,
just to cut you off real quick, Kyle says it is. That's how I got it. I guess he's talking about the vampire-ness of it.
yeah.
But what were you saying?
Um
Oh, we got this.
what was I saying?
What were you saying? I don't even think you got into any of your pools this week. Oh no,
No,
yes you
I'm
did. I
halfway
mean,
through.
oh my
I'm
gosh.
now at yeah, we'll just jump there.
Let's just jump back.
I'll listen back on this later and be like, "Oh yeah, like I'll finish that thought next week."
Yeah,
Um
we'll be
so
back.
this isn't what is advertised on the cover because this is one of those Disney covers that's coming out. And so again,
Oh,
if my
I
shop
love
had it,
that.
I was going to get it. The one that's like valuable is the one that's just the pencils and inks of this same one.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like a 1 in 50 or something like that.
Ooh.
This one is not as going to be as rare, but I got the other one that, or at least one of the other ones that came out too a few weeks ago. But I believe this is actually Amazing Spider-Man 21 or 22.
What? So
Yeah,
it's not the Incredible Hulk?
it's not the Incredible Hulk.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's weird. Um,
Um,
huh.
yeah.
I don't know
Uh,
what to make of that.
there's an article about it,
Okay. That's good
but
to know.
it's paying tribute to like classic covers
Right.
that have happened before, but just putting Disney characters in it instead, and then
And on
they're
diff
using it on Amazing Spider-Man as like an amazing like a collection for Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, so it's just on
Yeah,
The Amazing Spider-Man?
I think so.
I thought it would
I
be like
might
Captain America 1 on, like, the
there might be a couple like different series that are doing it, but I'm not
right.
100% sure.
That's
uh,
fine. Doesn't need to
um,
make sense to have be
and then the
fun.
next thing that I knew my shop would have this. It was pretty obvious that they would. But this is something I think people should have picked up. It's Adventures of Superman, John Kent #1.
Ooh,
Yeah, and so here I got the what is this? The Al Kaplan cardstock variant.
okay.
Um, I don't think this is going to be
Al
any
Kaplan,
more.
he was doing, Batman, wasn't he? Or something. That name is familiar for me, but I can't
Yeah,
remember
no,
why.
I think he's been pretty heavily involved in like the DC world.
Okay, that would
Um,
make sense.
and then last thing I got because the other thing I got was Clear. I got from Image Comics #1, Emma Kubert's Stoneheart.
Okay, I saw this.
Yeah. So this is another one. This is the only one that my shop had that wasn't ordered by somebody else. So
Gotcha.
I grabbed it.
Okay. Do you have any idea what that's about?
No idea, but that's one thing that excites me about kind of like this game I'm playing with potential key comics is like, yeah, I'm gonna read them once and put them back in the board and bag and
Yeah.
put them away and see what happens. But I mean, that's what Liquid Kill and Local Man were for me. I knew not. I
Nice.
went in cold with both of those, and I'll talk about one of those later too.
Nice.
But like that's it's kind of what gives me that like dopamine fix of comic books of just like when you go to the shop and you used to browse more, right? And so you'd be like, oh, this looks interesting, so you would just pick up like a random one
Mhm.
and not really know what you're getting into, but
Mm,
like I just know what's coming out. And so now when I have things that are on my pull list, I get those. And then again, like I said, if I have a little extra, I'm looking on the shelf for like, did this, or this end up here at my shop? Okay, I'm going to get it.
yeah,
So,
that's pretty so I had this thought, and I remember we talked about this, me potentially doing this at the really early stages of the podcast, but it was, because I remember one time I went to a comic book shop out in Oregon, and this was, like, before, this
yeah,
argument this argument
no,
is why I went back.
this is something we talked about on their podcast too, right? Like just, or maybe we talked about it backstage with them, but like just a way of being able to like rent comics.
Mhm.
But it's like, yeah, like a blockbuster where it's like there's new stuff coming out and there's going to be other stuff on the shelf, and someday that place will go out of business and you can go buy those used ones, and you might find some keepers. But uh the whole
Ye
premise though of just being able to like read a comic without having to invest a lot of money into it, but do it print and not digital.
Right. Yeah,
So
maybe there's something in that. I'm not. I don't want to say any ideas in case I found my $1 million idea, but yeah, I mean that definitely. Um, yeah, I wish there was a way that we could do that. And I mean, the library is kind of like the closest thing. The fact that like you
oh yeah,
do go there and you get like trade paperbacks, I think that that's pretty dope.
I guess
Um,
I'll throw this out there too. Now that you mentioned the library, my library will deliver to you, so that's awesome.
Jeez.
And I got my first delivery from them today, and it's volumes 1, 2, and 3 of The Department of Truth by Tinian.
Oh my goodness, they have like something like that too. They have like I guess they
Yeah,
had I Hate Fairyland and all that's an Ice Cream Man. So yeah, I
yeah.
guess
I still have all those sitting next to me too. I got to return
jeez,
them.
that's dope.
Yeah.
I live 2 blocks from I said this last week. I live 2 blocks from a library. I don't know why I'm not utilizing that more, but it's by where I get my vape juice. I go there. I could just go to the library as well. I can yeah, that I'm
Go to the library.
yeah, I'm just gonna
You'll
go to the
find
library.
you'll find stuff that you've wanted to read there that you've been sitting on. It's like, oh, it's at the library. Like I'm gonna get it.
That's true. All right.
It's worth risking the late fees if your library still does that.
I would imagine. I don't know. But hey, man, do you want to get into some of the comics that we were planning on chit-chatting about?
Yeah, dude. Should we start with Phantom Road?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. We got two different covers, right?
Yeah, you got. I think I like your cover more. I think I just got the normal stock one. I might
Yeah.
like mine more.
I
Yours is
think that
kind of
that's
cool.
yeah, I think that yours is Walta's cover, and that's the main cover.
Yeah, I would imagine if that's the main cover.
And then mine is the Jeff Lemire cover.
Yeah, it looks like that's you. That's the one I had. Um,
Well, what'd you think of it, man?
well, hey, so for those of you who have been like following along at home, the last Jeff Lemire comic that we really got into was Little Monsters.
Yeah.
And I think that's only outside of like all the Bone Orchard Mythos stuff that kind of came in the middle there, um, which I didn't touch at all. And I was so happy to be like back in the world of Jeff Lemire in a fun way. And like
Yeah.
the art really sold it on me. And that's what I wanted to say. Like we
Oh
talk so
yeah.
much when we talk about Jeff Lemire comics, we talk about Jeff Lemire. But for me, honestly, like what kind of not that the writing and everything wasn't like top-notch Jeff Lemire stuff, but the art by let me just make sure that I'm saying yeah, Gabrielle H. Walta. Yeah, I that was truly like just what sucked me in and like kept me going through it. And I don't know if they've worked together in the past. Maybe they have. I'll check it out
Yeah.
because yeah, it really sucked me in. And that again, like it was so. It's always great when Jeff Lemire like is paired with somebody who like can like really bring out what he's trying to do. And I think that's what was here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, and he's kind of one of the best in the biz right now, and so he's going to work with some pretty extravagant artists that are also like either up and coming in the field or like they've been a pretty good constant in some world of
Right.
Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Image. Like they've all they're all very experienced
Right.
creators, and
But
like
he's
that's like one thing that like I do appreciate about where Jeff Lemire is like status wise right now. So
the comic book lair said they did sentient over at TKO together. Okay, so yeah, I knew you would know. I threw that
yeah,
out there knowing that somebody would know. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. I will say that like he's not like Ed Brubaker and has like a guy, like
yeah,
Sean Phillips. Like that's pretty much a go-to, and they work so well as a pair.
yeah.
Jeff
Which
Lemire,
again, like Ed Brubaker, Comic Book Lair just covered volume 1 of Friday by Ed Brubaker, but this is
mhm,
something he didn't do with Sean Phillips.
right?
And it was like if you read the stuff in the back that's from Ed Brubaker in that,
Mhm,
just him talking about like he had worked with I forget the artist's name like once before and had always wanted to again or something and just reached out to him and like that's what they came up with. And like
yeah,
I loved Friday. And if you haven't listened to Comic Book Lair's podcast on it, please go check it out.
yeah,
Um,
it's good
but
stuff.
you were saying about Jeff Lemire and the art.
No, just yeah, I mean, just going back to it. I mean, that's just what really sucked me in. Do you want to talk about the story at all?
Yeah. So, but yeah, just to touch too on the art. Yeah, I really appreciate it because it's a pretty like dry story and like the art matches it so well. It's going on in
Mhm.
like a desert along the highway. We're following a trucker named Dom.
Yeah, look at you,
Yeah.
man.
Um, I'm not even looking at my notes and I pulled that off the top of my head, but
Wow.
that's right. Yeah, but he's a long haul trucker and there's glimpses throughout the story of him going back to his past when his dad was also a trucker and his dad's like always cheating on his mom while he's on the road and they get in an argument in front of him as a kid. And so there's this memory that he's dealing with as the present story is going along. And that story
Right.
is he stops at a diner to get his coffee to get back on the road and he exchanges pleasantries with like one of the diner waitresses and
Mhm.
she's like, yeah, or like how much longer you got to her, and she's like, I got like 6 hours left and like my feet are killing me or something like that.
Yeah.
And she's like, what about you? And he's like, about a day and a half, like going up to North Dakota. I
Yeah.
don't remember where exactly, but uh once he leaves that place, he's driving down the road and there's a car flipped over that was going looked like the other way and it was flipped over. Its headlights were facing him, but the car is upside down. He veers off the
Mm.
road, goes and checks, and he runs into Birdie.
Right.
I think her name was the gal that was sitting by the car. There's another person sprawled out on the
On the road.
panel that's dead, or presumably dead.
Yeah.
But there's this,
or a mystery person. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if it's like it was the other guy or like the truck driver or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't leave any when
You're gonna Scooby-Doo it.
I stay on my toes with Jeff Lemire. I'm like, you're gonna jump at me at anywhere.
He's a cooking of something up.
That's how I feel.
But yeah, so he checks in on Birdie, and she's just staring at this object in the road, and I don't even know how to describe it. It's not it's not, it looks like a rock, but it kind of looks like a tree stump, but it also looks like a mushroom, and stalactites and stalagmites.
Oh my goodness. Look at you saying words I couldn't spell.
And she's just like afraid of it, and then Dom walks up to it and he touches it, and like this energy comes out of nowhere, and then they kind of come to, or like the event ends, and there's like this person standing out in the dirt road, or not in the dirt road, just in the desert. That's what we call it, the dirt road, the desert.
The dirt road of
the first dirt road, the desert.
I guess I don't think it's technically dirt,
and it's kind of like, I don't know, this like alien zombie mummy looking creature. Like, don't really know what it is.
I thought for me it was like a zombie. Like it just looked like a clay zombie, like an alien zombie.
It made me think of like the clay fighters that the Power Rangers fight against. What are they called again?
I don't know. But I'm thinking of Gumby. So I'm kind of thinking of just like desert dry.
They do kind of have a little bit of a Gumby vibe to them. I'm not gonna lie.
The way that they stand is very much just like stiff arm Gumby. I went as Gumby
putties.
for
I think they're called the putties.
Yeah, that would make sense. I went as Gumby one year for Halloween. My mom laughed at me a bunch, I think. Anyway,
is there a picture?
I'm sure I'll hit up my mom and see if I can find one. There's definitely one as me as Batman. We can find that at some point in time. That'll be fun because we talk about Batman all the time. Anyway, so where do you think this is going to go? What do you? Let's throw some hot predicts to the wind.
You know, I think that they're just going to keep on traveling down the road.
Just
the phantoms. And
do you think it's real though? Are they really there, or did they just like got blasted by like a radiation rock and they're having like a seizure?
Yeah, they're both going to wake up in the hospital and have a shared experience of being unconscious. That's where it's going to end.
Well, I'm going to put my money on that. We'll see if you can outsmart us, Jeff Lemire. All I know is you're going to make me feel things. I'm just like, oh, Jeff Lemire, you're just automatically just being like, yeah, this guy's got a bad past. I'm like, yeah, of course he does. We know how you roll, baby.
The other thing too with like Jeff Lemire is like the last few things of his that I've read, like every next issue, I'm just like, he did it again. Like, he got me. He's still he's still got his hooks in me. Like, it's whatever. I'm fine with it. Like,
yeah, that's not a bad place to be. I mean, there's definitely there's worse things to have your hooks in you as I shake my vape around.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so I mean, if you haven't read Phantom Road though, like I think it's worth checking out. I think anything that has Jeff Lemire's name on it, like at least issue 1 is worth checking out, because you just don't know where he's going to go with anything that he writes.
Right.
Like, but he makes you experience feelings while you're reading it.
He sure does.
If you need another shout out for somewhere of his to read, I would say May's book. Like that will prove the point of what we're talking about pretty clearly, of just like you go through like the stages of grief with the main character, and like that's not how everyone is. It's more of, it seems like Jeff Lemire explores like human feelings in different ways with different comics and different genres of comics. So so yeah, Jeff Lemire doing it again.
Who knew? Maybe he's got me back in. Maybe I'll go back in on Little Monsters. Probably not, but
we'll see.
It's nice to dream, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and then on a taking it to a less serious note, we got Darkland number 3.
Yeah. I mean, you say it's less serious, but I also feel like this comic might be a little bit more. I won't say it's not as serious, because Jeff Lemire's comics definitely feel like a little bit more like earthy or grounded and stuff, and this is
Yeah,
obviously a little bit more fantastical, and I'm still
yeah,
really digging the well, again, like so do you want to talk about the story? I always feel like you do better with the stories than me.
yeah. So Darkland is I guess there's kind of two female characters we're following. One of them's named Rose, and I think that's the orphan girl that's like
Hmm.
14, and everybody's after her because I guess she's a genius or something. I don't think we really know why they're after her, but
Yeah, it still isn't clear.
she has some knowledge of something um, that's needed by a vast amount of different people. It appears, and I think Zed.
Yeah, Zed's the other one.
Um, Zed is kind of the one that we've been seeing on most of the covers, I think. At least, let me see. Where are
Well,
we at?
see, it
Yeah.
started out very
Yeah.
much Zed focused, but it feels like over the past two issues, she's been very much pushed to the side. And
Yeah.
I'm a little bummed about that because I really like that character and I wish I could have seen more of her. But
Yeah.
I'm still enjoying this world. I
Yeah.
feel like I cut you off telling the story, but yeah,
Well, no, I was just kind of explaining that, like, yeah, kind of what you went into is it seemed that Zed was like the primary character we're going to be following, and she's not getting as much panel work as I think Rose is right
yeah.
now. But I think that's going to change.
Well, yeah,
Because
because I think
eventually they're also going to be in the same place. So,
yeah, I think
um,
doesn't that where they end? Where they're in the same place? I'm pretty
oh yeah,
sure.
at the end of this latest one, issue 3.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to scroll through it. I think so. Anyways, let's just not jump into that. What did you do we even really like say how did you enjoy it? Where are you at on it?
Well, no, I'm still really liking it, but again, it's like it's an issue 3, and
Mm, that's a
depending on
good way
how
to
long
put
the
it.
series, yeah, right. Just put it to the numbers.
Well,
Um,
no, I mean, I'm serious. Like it feels like we're into the story, but like we're not getting any conclusions, but we're not like nothing new got introduced outside of like kind of some mythical or
yeah,
like
and like
the
new situations like happened, but
yeah. But we
like
were
it,
aware that there was like monsters and stuff, but this is the first time that we really get to see them, and I thought that that was really cool. I wasn't
yeah,
expecting it to be as like gory as it was.
it was pretty
Um,
gory.
yeah, because it's kind of like it's the art is very like kid friendly, and then like when that
Yeah,
kind of stuff happens, you're like, oh, that's not, and
yeah,
like just as what
yeah.
it is. I don't dislike it, but it was I was like, oh yeah, like this is something's happening here.
No, there's definitely panels in there. I was like, if this is on screen, and depending on how well they did it cinematically, that could probably make me pass out.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I thought you were gonna say it'd be like a hard R, and yeah, for sure. Like it would definitely be like an R-rated comic,
Oh
but
yeah, for sure.
or
Yeah,
a movie rather. But
but yeah,
yeah,
no, I'm
so
digging it. And yeah, sorry, what were you gonna get into?
I was just gonna say that I'm digging it too. Like it's perfectly fine. Like I feel like I don't really have like a whole super bunch to say about it. Just that like the story continues on. We get to see like a lot of the groups are starting to merge together
Yeah,
in the pursuit of Rose and
yeah,
Rose. Yeah. So I think hopefully next issue they get into a little bit of like why like all this is happening.
yeah,
But I still like my favorite thing about this comic is the idea of it being post apocalypse and seeing
yeah,
like the tribes and how people survive, and like I'm very curious about the world because I think trees are like some trees are alive, there's
yeah,
like monsters, and I'm very curious as to like how this became this world.
yeah. It's kind of like a futuristic like fantasy setting
Right.
where like yeah, there's trees that talk and some animals talk and uh like Narnia.
Yeah, that's where
Yeah.
we are.
It's Narnia, way in the future, and they've developed technology. There we are. But yeah, so that's written by Nicholas Black. The art's done by Serge or Sirg
I would say
Acuna.
Surge
Serge.
Acuna.
Colors by Hakto Ashiro, and letters by Bernardo Bryce.
I'm a big fan of this cover, I want to say, because this is
I
very
do,
much like
yeah,
it's what we like about comics. Like this happens in the issue, maybe not this exact panel or like having this exact person being right there, but like I just love a comic that's like Galactus is coming and like it's just like like
Yeah,
it's just good old comic book fun.
right on. Well, man, what did you read this week that you want to chat about?
Man, it's the first one that I really want to chat about is good old Deadfellows.
Oh
And
yeah,
so I'm on the fence about how I want to talk about this because there was another comic that came out from Scout Comic. They're both from Scout and Banshees. And
yeah. You had
I
a
I'm
Scout week last week.
I did, and I loved it so much. And I didn't get much of a Scout week this week, which is a bit of a bummer, but they're incredibly similar stories, which I'm not saying as a bad thing, but it was just like serendipitous that these two comics came out in the same week. So let me just I'll do them at the same time.
Okay.
Um so uh Death Fellows or Dead Fellows rather, sorry, that's by oh man, they have like the all the credits down there like a movie poster or a movie thing, but
Yeah.
it's impossible to read. It's written by Cody Hamilton, illustrated and colored by Ramiro Rallo, letters Dave Lampier. Yeah. So this is about a guy, Pete, who recently just got out of a 2-year long relationship, and he is house hunting for like his first apartment. And as he's like doing the interview, he's like looking at like places, and it's showing like in his mind eyes like how he's gonna use that to kill himself. So like
Mm,
he's just like trying to figure out a way to like off himself in this building. And like he tries calling some friends, and they have like no interest with them like whatsoever. So yeah, then he attempts suicide, and there's ghosts that are already in the house from previous tenants that have been that have killed themselves in the house. So there's a bunch of ghosts that live in there because they off themselves at some point in the house histories, and they're still like in the like floorboards. So they talk about in a panel being like, we just don't have room for another spirit in here. So if you kill yourself, then like there's not going to be room in the kitchen. Like somebody already has the kitchen and the bathroom and like yada yada yada. And so it's just a really interesting premise of like these ghosts are trying to stop this guy from killing themselves because they don't want the place to be more like haunted and more like inhabited.
yeah.
That's for me, that's like a brilliant idea. And that's like what I love about Scout Comics is like just something so cool and dark and fun. Like, yeah, they deliver on that so well. Now,
Yeah.
Banshees, on the other hand, I liked it. I didn't like it as much, but the art is yeah, just as captivating and all that stuff. Let's see who this is by. The story is by David Dwouch and Jessica Balboni. The script is by Dave Dwouch. Artist Ricciano Fassini. The colorist Dam, and the letter is Dave Dwouch. Okay, so Dave Dwouch is all over this. But yeah, so this is about a college dorm that's actually Penn State. And I don't know if this is Penn State like main campus, but that's in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
There's so many comics set in this great state. Um, and so it's a similar thing. You can kind of see it on the splash page of just in this dorm room, there's been a bunch of girls who have been murdered. So the college and the dorm are haunted by these girls, and it follows two girls who are roommates. Let's see if I can find their names. Um, do 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 do. No, I don't see if I can see them. Um, okay, so we got what are you laughing about? You could be filling, while I'm like trying to read.
It's really fun to watch you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
Um,
So I can't find the girl's name, but yeah, it's a similar premise of like having the place like be haunted and like the interactions with the ghosts, except the ghosts and banshees are like at the end she sees the ghosts, and they are yeah, they look like they're out to get her. So this is kind of like the opposite, where the other ones were more of just like, we don't want you to die because then like you'll live with us, and we don't want that. This one, it's like
yeah.
the evil spirits are trying to claim her. So like I kind of hope that these continue to come out simultaneously so I can read them like this, because it was a lot of fun to like engage with it like that.
Yeah.
And just it's just Scout comics, and I just love Scout so much. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Right on.
that was Deadfellows and Banshees. Good
Banshees.
stuff.
Yeah. I wanted to pick up both of those, but I was too late to like put it on my list by the time
Right.
I was like really aware it was coming out. And that's like one of the hard things of following like the more indie ones, is their dates seem to move a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just
Well,
yeah.
speaking of, just to say this real quick, Rad Wraith confirmed that issue number 3 and
Oh
issue
yeah, I
number
saw you
4.
posted about that. Yeah.
Yeah, issue number 3 is coming out in November, and then issue number 4 is December. So it's going to be a long year for your buddy. But I'm very much looking forward to those coming out eventually.
Yeah. I
What
still
you
need to
got?
get issue 2. So what do I got? I guess I want to talk about Hunt, Kill, Repeat.
Oh.
So this was last week for me, something that showed up at my shop that I was like, oh, cool, they have one, I'm taking it. And so I went in cold with it, and let me see, where did it
Where did it go?
It's
There you
right
go.
here. You can, if you like really study the cover, I think you can pick up a little bit of who these characters are.
Is that Odin? It looks like Odin.
You're not far off. It's Zeus. So we're
Ah.
talking Greek pantheon, or the Olympic pantheon.
Right.
And essentially what's going on in this one is the gods, the old Greek gods, are sick and tired of us humans and how we've like disrespected them and just ruined the world and blah blah blah. So anyways, they kind of come down and like have a reckoning.
Yeah.
And then
That
like when
sounds
things are all
spooky.
said and done, one of Zeus's children, in this case Artemis, who is the goddess of hunting,
Mm-hmm. And the name of my dog.
and the name of your dog. Yeah, but yeah, so I went in cold, and like I was just honestly just like very pleasantly surprised with this one. Because I didn't like look at the cover in too much detail. The reason I saw this one would be like a cool one to grab is that both the guy from You Promised Me Comics, I think his name might be Jonathan, had mentioned it, and then Comics with Bueller is another person that I follow that's actually up in Portland.
Okay.
That Hedrick kind of made me more aware of, and it was, and I think that they had both talked about it, or maybe it was Cole's Comic Claims. Maybe had talked about it. Somebody else talked about it, and I was like, I'm gonna get it.
Keep listening, people.
I'm just gonna keep listening. I just need to say, like, I want to shout out who I'm watching, so I give a fair chance to everybody else of like how I'm finding what I pick up. And yeah, so it censors on the appearance of the Olympian god. Zeus is reclaiming the earth under the sole dominion, faulting technology for humanity's lack of faith in them. And then, yeah, he forces humans into like a life of servitude and worshiping them. So like there's panels in here where it's like there's people at the park like worshiping a statue of one of the gods, and they all live now in New York.
Yeah.
In Olympus, New York.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. And but the situation gets pretty ugly pretty quick, because like once it's all said and done, like I think it's like 10 years later, like 2 years later, that like the gods have kind of settled into their lives, and Artemis, who she's also like the god of chastity, so like she's sworn to like never marry.
Well, that explains why we got that procedure for the dog then.
Yeah, right. But anyways, she ends up marrying a human, and she's with child.
Oh.
And she gets called back to Olympus to have a meeting with her dad, and she's led to believe that it's just a meeting between the two of them, but all of her siblings are there. And I don't think that Zeus knew that she was pregnant by the way the story kind of displayed it. But two of the sisters like ripped off her like trench coat and revealed that she was pregnant, and they have an epic fight between her and like some guards, and then she takes on her siblings, and then Zeus just like taps her with his lightning bolt, and she goes into a coma for 10 years.
Oh,
Oh, and also Zeus killed her husband right in front of him, or
oh,
right in front of
Jesus.
her too. Yeah, so like it turned ugly really, really fast.
How long was
But
this comic?
uh
Sounds like so much happened.
yeah, I think it was a pretty hefty on the amount of pages, but I
I would
don't know that off
imagine
the top
so.
of my head.
Whew.
But yeah, I really liked it. I'm gonna see if I can keep getting it. I don't know if I want to sit and wait for the trade on this one. But yeah, if you pick this up, based on what I said, you might see it coming. But if you just grab this, like, yeah, you wouldn't see what was coming, and like the story just hits you with like such like a wow, this just got worse feeling. Like, and but it's like a key thing because like it hooks you into the story,
Okay.
and like so
Yeah.
now I want to know more about it. And
Right.
yeah, the art's wonderful, it's clean, it's polished, it's very
Mhm.
well done. I guess I should talk about the team here.
Yeah.
So
Why not?
it's written by Mark London. The penciler is Francisco Archia Ar, so sorry, Archidiacono, and Lee Luffridge, and Mike is the inker, and letters were Micah Myers, and then the colorist was Russ Wooten.
There you go.
So, but yeah, I think they did a fantastic job. This came out from Mad Cave
Okay.
Productions. So,
I saw that and I had never even heard of such a thing. That's cool that we like got some kind of like I got that Ahoy comic. Got some cool like really indie stuff. So
yeah,
I'm feeling it.
um,
We get good mixes between your shop and my shop. I feel of like stuff that's out there.
we have all the things that are good.
All the things that should be all the pool
that's
box pals, all the things that are good.
that's old Greg.
Oh, old Greg. Um, uh, see, this is you can't riff off of things that are already in like out into the world because then I don't know them, and then I'm just like, oh, we made up this funny thing for the podcast. My friends used to do that when I was young. They would like make jokes, and I didn't know that they were from TV shows, and I would think that like we invented them, and so I'm just always like, now, yeah, I'm very paranoid about that. I'm like, are these original jokes? Whose
Well,
jokes are these?
you know what they say, there's nothing new under the sun.
Well, that's what I thought you were gonna say. The highest form of praise is flatter or parody. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you had it right. Flattery. Yeah.
Flattery, something like
Um,
that. But
you got something else there?
I do. I actually got a whole lot of something else. So this came out,
Oh
I
yeah.
think, last year. Dark Spaces Wildfire. I
Yeah, the
got.
trade's coming out soon. It's something it's like I think it's like my first trade pull of the year.
Oh, that'll be pretty dope.
Yeah.
But it's by a great team. It's by Scott Snyder, Hayden Sherman, Rhonda
Ooh.
Patterson, and yeah, I am so it was in my shop, but for some reason I missed it. And it just like I didn't pick it up until like issue 4 or 5 or
Yeah,
something
that
like
I
that.
think yeah, I remember.
And
Yeah.
right, so I didn't get into it at the like time that I would have wanted to, but man, it was such a fun story. So the premise is that it's about a fire squad, I guess you would say, or fire line, whatever. They go out and they fight forest fires, and they're all from a female prison. So this is like they go out and they work for like $2 an hour going out and fighting forest fires. And it's
Huh.
interesting because it's a 5-issue arc, and each issue is based off of like a different stage of wildfires or wildfires. Let's see if I can find or no. So there's 4 stages of a wildfire. The first one sets it up, and then the rest of them are kind of based off of it. So you have ignition, flashover, max heat, and decay. And what's happening is in the middle of one of these bushfires, wildfires, whatever you want to call them, one of the girls on the line knows that they are near a house that has like billions of dollars in crypto. So that's came out during that
Jeez.
small time when crypto was a thing. This will be a like relic of the past. Like, look at this thing that they were talking about. But anyway, so she convinces the team to let's break into this house and steal the crypto. And when they break in, they go into the room that has like the computer in it, and they open the door and there's a corpse in there. And so like it no longer is just like about stealing this, it's like kind of trying to get to the end of this, like trying to figure out what happened here. But there's also a fire that's going around, like that's supposed to be like their cover and everything, so they have to
Yeah.
compete with the fire. But as they go to leave, a SWAT team comes up the hill. So this is all happening over the course of all these issues. And I don't want to say how it ends, because you should 100% read it, because you love this team, so it'd be some,
Yeah.
and you said you were going to get it, so I'm not going to spoil it for you. I'm sorry, I kind of just did a whole bunch.
No, it's all right. I'm
Sorry,
still
man.
reading it.
But yeah, it was phenomenal. I read it in the exact way that I wanted to read it, was just like to plow it out in a weekend, and like that's how I did it. So it was a lot of fun.
Nice. Right
Yeah.
on, man.
So how about you? You got one more you want to chit chatty about
I
Abby?
was gonna talk about Local Man, but I think I did a fairly decent post about it. But yeah, I really like the idea. And then speaking of our pal Andy had pointed out to me that uh, I had noticed that in one of the panels it said that Crossjack, well, formerly Crossjack, who that was his superhero name, but now he's like
Mm-hmm.
disgraced and he's moving
Mm-hmm.
back to his hometown. Oh, he wants me to talk about Liquid Kill. I got Liquid Kill on my shelf back here too.
There
Um,
you go.
I want to reread that one before I talk about it, because I like it's the one I was reading when I like pretty much hit my head on the pillow and fell asleep. Like I remember like finishing it and then like just
Just blackness.
yeah, and so I want to get back into that one. Um, like so Local Man was just like really cool because it was taking this perspective of a disgraced superhero moving back to his like nothing town, and everybody there like hates him.
Mm-hmm.
But like in one panel he's like sitting at the bar and somebody, you know, made some jab at him and he's like, yeah, I've only saved the world from Malabogia. I don't remember how to say it or pronounce it, but
Sure.
that's a Andy had pointed out that that's a character from Spawn.
Oh,
And so
interesting.
now it's brought on this question of like, is this set in the Spawn universe? Because that would just make it that much better. And like, I really like it because it's also a flip comic. And so
Right.
like the main cover story, like, so the, you know, the cover they're advertising, uh, it has like your main story to follow along. But then in the back, when you flip it over, and you'll flip it horizontally, just so you know. So it's like upside down on both sides, you know,
Yeah.
and but it's a story of the past when Crossjack first became Crossjack and has just joined the team third gen,
Right.
and it's his first mission with them, I think, or like one where he like kind of realizes what he's become like a part of. It seemed like so like there you get two stories. It's and I don't think it's how much was it?
I don't know. I
Yeah, it's the typical 3.99. So, but yeah, you're getting two good stories for 3.99, 30 pages.
That's pretty dope.
So, I had the
I
note
really
there for
did
the
like
pages
the
on that one.
two. I did really like the two story aspect of it. I thought that was
Yeah,
like yeah. I've been really enjoying that comics are doing that, because the ones that are in the back feel a lot more of like the traditional comics, because they're very
yeah,
short and like just fun. And so yeah, I'm 100% on those.
yeah. But what I really want to talk about was just so when I moved back from Taiwan, because I moved back before you did, and I started getting comics again. I think like when I first went into the shop, I had found out that that's when they were restarting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it's the
Mm,
one that's been ongoing since 2011, 2012. And
that's
so
impressive.
um, I actually tried to subscribe to that one online, and then something happened where I only got the first two issues, and I never got the rest of them. And but I don't think I don't know. I think I just let it go. I don't really remember back then
Mm,
like why. I just was like whatever. But yeah, so I have the first two issues, and the full first volume. I actually think all 10 volumes are on Comixology,
okay.
and
Yeah.
they're so each arc is four stories. So I know I got you hooked there.
Right.
Um,
That's pretty
and
sweet.
and then the first volume is the first 3 arcs, and it's just about it's the origin story of like Turtles and Splinter, how they're in New York and how they're like the reincarnated form of Kamado Yoshi and his sons.
Oh, jeez.
And so
Is
like
that
it's
I didn't know. I don't know. Is that how that is? Is that really canon?
yeah, well, I mean, there's been different iterations based on just the history of the turtles, but I mean, like the cartoon displayed it as like, uh, Splinter transformed from a man into a rat.
Yeah,
Other versions have said that he was a rat that transformed into a mutant, like man-like creature.
right.
But yeah, so different things have been said, but in this one, he's the reincarnation of Yoshi.
Gotcha.
So, but man, I really enjoyed it, and I finished it last night, and I was like, man, why was I sitting on this for so long? Like, it's so good. And I think Ray had read it,
Okay.
as well, and he talked about it a while back on one of their podcasts.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and then just also with new Ninja Turtles movie being announced and coming out, and like they released the cast and the first preview and
Right.
all that. But yeah, so just turtle fevers
Oh, I
happening.
thought you were gonna say turtle power.
Oh,
Turtle power.
yeah. Cowabunga.
For anyone out, just for some music recommendation, the band Horse the Band does an amazing cover of that intro, just in case you ever want to listen to that.
All right.
There you go. Well, hey man, you got any other comics you want to chit chat?
No, man. I think I'm good. I think we can square up, saddle up the pony, and ride out of town, or whatever you say.
Square up. Sounds like we were like about to fight the horse. All right, Mark, you ready to fight the horse? That's a new way of saying end the podcast.
I guess my interpretation of it was like squaring up with the bartender. Like you've been sitting at yeah. You at the old saloon.
Yep.
Just passing through town.
The horse is outside at like a post.
In this case, this town was episode 39.
Oh my goodness. Well, hey, since you did the intro, I will say thanks to everybody for hanging along with us. It was really great. We've had like so many people on this episode, got a bunch of comments. We also got a bot at one point, so that was kind of fun. There's what the bot said. Yeah, so it's nice to know that the algorithm is playing along with us too. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Make sure to oh, you actually have something in here that I wouldn't cut you off. You have something about the Ringo Awards. What's that about?
Oh, right. So Hedrick let me inform me of this, but it's and I think that we'll have the link posted in the like details of this video.
Sure, I can do that. I didn't put it in, but I can do that.
Yeah, so it's a comic book awards thing, and you can nominate like whoever you want.
Okay.
So there's not like it's the nominations like that's what's up, and it's open to anybody. And so we'll have the link to fill that out if you'd like. And
yeah, that's pretty dope.
I'm still working on mine. I have like an open tab with it just running.
Okay.
But
yeah, that's pretty sweet,
yeah,
man.
So check that out. And
yeah,
then,
I will throw that in the description if you're listening to this. Yeah, it'll be there. If you're watching the playback, it'll be there. I just want to shout out our buddy Anthony Blackwell Jr. He hosts this amazing podcast called the Anthony ABJ podcast. Go and check that out. He's a good pal of ours. He's been on this. He was actually I believe our first or second.
He was our first or second guest.
Yeah.
Andy and him were the first two.
Yeah. But yeah, he lets us use the platform that we use to stream live. So he lets us use that yes, out of the goodness of his heart. And he's a good friend. So just wanted to give a shout out. Go check him out. But my buddy, my pal, Mark, Med, where can people find us?
Well, you can find us on all those socials.
All those socials.
Yeah, we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. You can find us all there at pullboxpals. You can find me on Instagram at mad_nerdy, and you can find Monk at that Monk guy.
I'm gonna change it to that Matt guy. Imagine if my name was Matt.
And yeah, like please, if you're watching or listening, whatever it is that you're partaking in this conversation, please like and subscribe, comments, do those things. They really help us
Share it
out. We
about.
enjoy doing this. And we
See if we can
enjoy.
play at your local comic book shop. See if you can get us to come in and do a live podcast at your comic book shop.
I honestly don't know if they have the room for that.
Just any comic book shop.
Yeah,
Mine definitely does. Because mine also has like 6 rows of tables where people come and play card games all the time.
there's other comic shops around that have that.
Yeah.
So
Maybe one day we'll do a tour of comic book shops. That would be dope.
That would be really cool. And then one last thing too about the Ringo Awards. The nominations close on May 11th, so it's May 8th. So if you want to do it, like now's the time to like get those in. Really help out some of your favorite writers, creators, artists.
Yeah, and all the like. Well, buddy, it was another great episode. I've got some sweet comics. We're not to spoil anything, but we have something special happening next week. So make sure y'all come back. You hear now. So we've been looking forward to this for quite some time.
We've been chatting about this.
We have, aren't we?
We are.
All right. There's good sizzle to come back next week. And you know what else is good sizzle to come back next week? Because you ain't read comics like this in years. Oh boy.